All right, we're live. Welcome to my live stream. I was gonna go live about, I don't know, like 10 or 15 minutes ago, but my son was still finishing up watching a Minecraft TV show, which is actually pretty cool. It's done by Telltale Games, which used to be back when I actually played video games. That was like one of the few companies I would actually play the games of. They're like point and click games, which shows you the extent of my gaming prowess. But they were always really well written and really well crafted. And they did one that I guess is now like on Netflix that my son really digs because he's obsessed with Minecraft. And I guess I can take these off since I have no guests today. So what am I doing on this live stream? That would be a good thing to explain. I'm going to be working on Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And that's a graphic novel that's a historical fiction graphic novel that talks about the Barretts, the Brownings, and like some strange supernatural occurrences that happened in Elizabeth's lifetime that like nobody's written about yet. And I'm really excited about it. My sister Lavender wrote the script. We got a publishing deal for it. And long story short, I have to do about 230 pages by next April. And so we're making progress. Yesterday we did roughs for about 5 pages, so that puts us on page 15 with 10 finished pages so far, or 10 pages we don't have to worry about. Technically 7 finished pages. So today I'm going to be trying to work on the roughs. At least during this stream, I'm going to try to work on the roughs for page 16. I did start thumbnailing it, so we'll go ahead and pull that up. Gary very kindly said, good evening. And then Dee Dee, actually, before we went live, recommended that I turn on super thanks as an option, which I did do. I didn't even know about that, but that's pretty cool. I guess that's a way for people to financially say thanks on videos after the fact, which is kind of cool. And I think it gives you like an animation or something. So give it a shot if you're out there at some point and want to contribute to the channel. Dee Dee also asked or said she hopes the little guy's feeling better. He is. The fact that he was actually watching a TV show was a good sign, because yesterday he was literally like holed up in bed and just feeling like terrible. Yeah, and then Dee Dee also mentioned that she watched Gary's recording where he was talking about the guy at the Comic-Con booth. Yeah, totally. That was a really interesting conversation too. And I really encourage people, if you enjoyed these live streams, make sure you're subscribed to Gary. If you guys like my comics, you should be buying Gary's comics. He's an exceptional writer, making really inspiring stuff. Don't be thrown off by the corniness of the title. Although if you're like me, the corniness of the title is like a good hook, because I love me some like bad B horror movies. But Dinosaurs versus Marsbots, it's incredible. And it's not just a B movie. It has all the B movie goodness of Dinosaurs versus Marsbots. And you'd imagine like what you imagine will happen in those comics. Like you're going to see some dinosaurs and Marsbots fighting each other, but you're also going to see some like intensely like sophisticated screenwriting and just professional level storytelling that and a lot of really strong dialogue that I think Jim Luhan's compared to Quentin Tarantino. Like it's just got this really good like quippy quick vibe to it. Excellent story. And I'm always going to be highly endorsing Gary's stuff, so make sure you're subscribed to him too. That being said, since you're on my channel, if you're coming on for the first time and checking this out, I've been a professional illustrator and graphic designer for going on 20 years now, which is kind of crazy. That just means I'm really old. And then when I'm not doing graphic design or illustration or working at my day job, where I work as an art director, and I've been doing that for about 8 years, I am working on making books, like graphic novels. And so I've made 2 so far that are published. One is already out. It's It's called Two Stories, and that's available through Marcosia. And you can basically get to that by clicking the link below. I don't want to do a long pitch because we'll probably end up playing some trailers for my books throughout this stream. And then the other is Jacob's Apartment, which is a doomed romance story in the vein of Ghost World or Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind. And that graphic novel is coming out in June, and I'm really excited about that. I actually just did an interview with Beautiful Voyager about that, and I believe it's up on their website. So I don't know. I'll probably put a link. These are my dogs. Someone's at the door. Some chaos. I'll put a link to that on my site. They literally just started doing this the second I started streaming. Anyhow, I guess maybe it's a delivery.
I think I got a sound.
Oh, okay. Oh, they I guess Maya was explaining there was a sound that sounded like a knock that wasn't a knock. So anyhow, whatever. Beautiful Voyager, you can check out that interview. If you go to my website, there's like a section that's called interviews and links. And that should have a link to that interview that I did with Meredith of Beautiful Voyager, who's really awesome and writes a lot on mental health. And ended up featuring me on her podcast a while back for Two Stories, and then interviewed me about the upcoming Jacob's Apartment, which is pretty cool. So that interview's up, and check that out. And now, without further ado, let's get into business and working on roughs. And then and then Dee Dee just said, buying Maya coffee for Mother's Day and for dealing with a sick little one. Oh, my Dee Dee gave you $10. She just gave you a fist bump. Yeah, man. It's so funny how, like, when you thank you very much, Dee Dee. I should share that too. When you, yeah, she was just saying she's probably a mom. Yeah, when you have like a sick kid and it's your only kid, it's shocking, like, to me, how much like that emotionally, it's just really hard to know your kid's like not feeling good. So I'll say even today, for me, I just feel relief. And I can see a visible relief with Mai too, now that like Ben's able to like relax and he's kind of running around the house a little bit and having fun again. It's like, it's nice to see that weight off of him. Whereas yesterday, like, he was so sick that like I went to check on him in his room and he's literally just like pointing away, just like, go away, I want to sleep. Like that was gray under his eyes. Yeah, and then Maya was saying he was like gray under his eyes. So it's like, it is nice to have him back to normal. So and then Frank said, way to go, Dee Dee. Nice. Yeah, so I'm going to get into roughing out this page. I started thumbnailing it a little bit ago. And so let's go ahead and pull that up. So if it's your first time kind of checking out the stream, the format is over there is where I'm going to be drawing and working on art and stuff like that. In this case, I'm working on the Strange Case of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Strange Supernatural Case of Elizabeth Barrett Browning graphic novel. It's a historical fiction graphic novel. And then that's where I'll be working on my roughs, and that's the section of the script that I'm going to be working on. So let's get into it. And let's see here. Frank asked, he said, Ben was turning into Voldemort. It looked it a little bit. We were kind of curious if he was reading like Slytherin material when we weren't looking or something. You know, you got to keep your eye out. You never know. I mean, I did notice something that looked a little bit like the Dark Mark. So I don't know.
Well, I was turning into Bellatrix, so you know.
Yeah, that's true. Like, my wife was strangely like being very Bellatrixian lately. So.
No, after he got sick. So.
Oh, after he got sick. Got it. I love it. Okay, so we've got right here. This is an interesting scene, and I kind of thumbnailed it out. It's kind of a bummer this wasn't thumbnailed out like during, but but again, I wanted to let Ben rock and finish his Minecraft movie. So okay, so here like the first section is going to be Wilson's steps. Wilson is the maid. The last we left, Wilson was like about to check the door, and then Mr. Barrett, Elizabeth's kind of overbearing evil father, was kind of asking Wilson, like, what are you doing by the door? And she was saying, like, checking the weather. And he basically said, well, the weather's cloudy, like usual, just get back to work. And so she pretended to like start heading up the stairs. The second he passed the stairwell, then she turned back, ran down the stairs, has opened the door, and now we're in on page 16, where we're going to be seeing this, which is Wilson steps onto the front stoop of number 50, where a messenger boy has arrived. So I thumbnailed the idea that I wanted to show room 50, right? And then it's going to have the messenger boy kind of like running into frame, about to knock. And it says he's out of breath and his hand is poised to knock. So he's going to have to look like he was about to knock on the door. Then panel 2 is going to be a close up, but like right behind the messenger boy's head. And by the way, I did look up and research what messenger boys looked like at that time too, as well as I had to look up currency. It's weird the stuff you have to look up just to draw a sketch for a page when you're doing historical fiction. But anyhow, so she's going to be putting her finger to her lips in a shushing motion and holding out of her hand, and the boy's going to place a letter on her palm, and then that's going to be a close up. I kind of want this to almost be like those Chris Ware close ups where he'll show just like a hand action. So the next is going to be the reflection of that, of her leaving what turns out to be a shilling. I had to look it up just to make sure, but it's a shilling, I think, that they'd usually tip, which is about a 16th of a dollar in value. I think it's less than a 16th of a dollar in value. I can't remember, but I do remember a shilling, and then I found what shillings looked like at that time. So she's going to deposit the coin into his hand, and then the last one's going to be him running off. So then I was like, I kind of comped it out, and I realized that if I'm going to show the building as like the whole bottom half, it might be cool if actually the entire thing is a full page picture of the building. So you see 50 Wimple like from the front, and then you're going to have the 4 panels above that frame, that last 5th panel, kind of ghosted over a large image of the building. I think that's every once in a while, I think in a comic, even when you're using a grid, you should do something to kind of underlap or like just change the dynamic of the frame so you have more of a full bleed kind of feeling. However, I don't want to do a lot of full bleed pages. I tend to try to avoid them. And I think the reason I'm doing that is so if I ever choose to do like a double page spread, it's going to hit like a cannon, as opposed to just like if I do double page spreads all the time, then it's almost like equivalent to saying language all the time. And then like if you say the F word every other sentence and then you tell somebody, F you or something, it doesn't have the impact as if you're like somebody who never says any bad language and then out of nowhere you say that. Like that, like my point is when you have tools in your toolkit, especially things like a double page spread, which is a really powerful tool. I think as a book artist, you should kind of keep that in your toolkit, just in case. Also, just on a technical standpoint, the less double page spreads and full bleed pages, the easier time my publisher is going to have with the book printing. And the easier time my publisher has with the book printing, the more likely it is that I leave them with a good impression and I get to work with them again. So that there's that too. Because if you have a book that's a pain in the butt to print, again, like if you're making brilliant work, they might be willing to kind of work with it. But if you're not, like it might be like such a headache. And if the book doesn't make profit, they may just be like, I'm not gonna I'm not going to hire this person again. I'm going to hire somebody who makes books that I can print, right? So anyhow, that's all just side stuff. And then let's see. Oh, and then I guess Frank was saying that Ben was Slytherin propaganda was what Ben was reading. And then Dee Dee was saying, what year is this now in the story? I think it's 1850 at this point. And then I know we said the year. Let me look back. So 1840 is when her brother died. Oh, this is 1846 in London. So yeah. Because that's why I have like printed copies of the book. So there's our little 1846 thing. Anyhow, so pretty exciting. And then Dee Dee was saying, you won't have Wilson say F you, will you? No. Yeah, this is going to be like the Tarantino version. Yeah, I'm like, this is the Tarantino version of a Victorian novel where everybody's going to be cussing, and for some reason they're going to pull out like semi-automatic weapons and just start shooting each other. And then the Victorian jet skis come out, right? With the with men on jet skis with Uzis, but they all have monocles and top hats. Dee Dee, you can't give away the twist. I feel like I want to make that version of a historical fiction book after this one. I think that would be hilarious. And I could call it like the sequel. I'm sure my sister would love that since she spent so much time researching this book. Okay. So all right. So let's see here. Frank said, is this story rated R? No, actually, this story is going to be probably like middle grade and up. So it's definitely, it's going to have some points that are very tense, but it's going to be more like the kind of tension you'd feel in like a Hitchcock film. So there is going to be a lot of drama and tension throughout it, but again, like more just like Hitchcock level stuff. Speaking of, so here so basically we have that page kind of roughly laid out. Dee Dee said, why is your sister named Lavender? Is there a significance? I think that the significance is that my parents were like hippies. I think that's the significance. So they went through like a hippie naming stage with Lavender, with my other sister named Fawn. And then originally, I think they were planning on naming me Alessandros. And then they settled with the really weird name Joshua, which wasn't a common name at the time. And thank God they didn't name me Alessandros, because I wouldn't have heard the end of that from my friends who were actually Hispanic. Like they would have teased the crap out of me for having a name that, you know, didn't match. So yeah, I'm thankful that I somehow dodged that bullet. But they also, the one thing that I will say that like my sisters have as a benefit that I don't is like every class I had growing up, the role when it was called would be like Joshua, and it would be like here, here, here. And then it's like, oh, well, okay, you're Josh 1, you're Josh 2, you're Josh 3. So like most of my life going through elementary school, I had a number assigned with my name because it was that common. So it was kind of like similar to somebody being like, I'm going to name my kid. I'm trying to think of another name from the same era. Like Mike would be another name that like for some reason everybody in the 80s was like, oh, we're going to name our kid Mike. Like that's the name that nobody's named. And then everybody was named Mike. There's the dogs again. I got dogs holding me hostage here, guys. Okay, so let's see here. We have I have to pull open a previous page. I think I'm going to pull open page 7. And I might just actually, just to have the reference, I'm going to put page 7 here. That should have worked. Okay, there we go. So there's page 7. I just want to see the building front. So this is going to be a different time of day. It's going to be a little brighter because it's a different day that this is going to take place, like this in the previous page. So I'm going to get working on that. Gary was saying, yeah, I knew like 4 or 5 mics growing up. Yeah, totally. Oh, the Victorian sharks swimming around. Thank you for reminding me of the Victorian sharks, Frank. Victorian sharks were historically very accurate at that time. There was I'm trying to think like what type of sharks were Victorian. I would think it's like, yeah, probably a hammerhead. I think Mai has a good point there. She said like probably a hammerhead because they'd look extra funny with a monocle, right? I think a hammerhead with a monocle would have to be it. I wouldn't imagine a lot of Victorian great white sharks, especially in England. I don't know if they traverse those regions. I think they're more of like a Pacific creature, but maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong and you guys know of other species of Victorian sharks, just provide me with links to the research and I'll correct my my thinking on that. Okay, so the one thing I want to make sure I get is like there's a specific pattern of glass that's on this, and so I want to at least, even in the rough stage, I want to get that correct. So yeah, so we're gonna rough out that first because this is gonna be at the front stoop, and I have to say stoop is a pretty fun word to say. So okay. So at this point, we're just going to rough out that it's a straight on shot, which is super, super easy peasy. That's actually a Victorian term for simple. So, yeah. Not like a really complicated thing to draw here, where we're just kind of going to do, I know there's like a 50 that's down here. There's like a million 50s, just kind of reiterating the fact that it's 50. And again, this is a rough, so it doesn't need to be like perfection. But we're just going to basically doodle this out so that, and what's cool is yesterday we finished 5 roughs. I was actually planning on trying to get into doing finals today, but then I remembered, oh yeah, I have a publisher. Like I need to actually probably get those approved. Like it defeats the whole purpose of having roughs commercially if I just went from roughs to final without kind of showing them and seeing if there's anything they want to change before I move forward. I've just gotten so used to working on my own books where I like wrote them, where it's like that's like the rough is more like just a way for me to kind of work out stuff before. But in this case, like it's a collaborative effort, so it's probably good if I just proceed forward and kind of make more roughs and get a much bigger lead, which is kind of cool because that means that in theory by like Monday I might hear back approval on like some of the pages, but at least by Tuesday I should be able to start finalizing some of those pages before. We also have a power outage tomorrow. I forgot to mention that. So I won't be able to stream tomorrow. Yeah, my just reminded me it's 9 to 3 in the morning, which is pretty much the window of time that I usually do live streams. So actually tomorrow I'm not going to make any progress on my comic at all, which is kind of a bummer. This is one of the weirdest things. I don't understand how maybe you guys can fill me in, and maybe this just makes me sound like a grumpy old man, but like, how can the electric company just send you a letter that's like, yeah, by the way, the service you pay for isn't going to be there for this day, so sorry. And that's it. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like if I sent them a letter saying like, hey, you know, like next month I'm not going to pay my electric bill, but you're still going to provide me service. I don't know. I would be like irate. I mean, I wouldn't be irate. They would be irate. They wouldn't let me. I don't understand how legally electric companies roll. Because I feel like they should have to provide a generator for the area when they're going to do a power out to do work, like to do work on buildings. Like they should just be able to provide a generator. There's definitely generators big enough to like provide power to a street. You know, I don't know. Anyhow, maybe that's just me being a bitter old man, but it's funny whenever they do that, I am tempted to just send them a letter like saying like, hey, you know, next Monday, I'm not going to pay whatever you charge me for electricity, but I intend to expect that you're going to provide me with electricity on that day. Because I know they're going to charge me. I don't know if they'll deduct it. That's the thing. I don't believe they will, but that's where I sound like a grumpy old man. So my conspiracy theory, you guys, of the day is that electric companies and their monopoly on the area that we have them servicing us are a bunch of BS. But then again, I don't know, you know, there's risks and rewards, but I'm just saying I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, Jim Luhan just hopped in and said there's got to be at least one Victorian car chase in your project. Agreed. I totally agree.
A Victorian car chase?
I feel like a Victorian car chase would be great.
I think there should be a man smacking someone with a fish.
Oh, a fish slapping dance kind of thing would be cool. I agree,
That should be their weapons. It should be like an alleyway street fight where they're using fish.
I actually like that a lot. Like, so Mai just brought up that they could have an alley fight. Like, I think she's thinking like in terms of like a guys and dolls kind of fight, where you have like, you know, the street fight where it's like the two guys who pull out their switchblades, except it's instead of switchblades, it's fish, right? I think I could see this. The back alley gangs of Victorian London. Jim, let's make this happen as a collaborative project when I'm done with this one. We could write it together. We could write it together, and then we need to convince some poor soul who's not us to draw it for us. Any takers? Frank, what do you think? You wanna draw our Victorian gangs of Victorian London? That will be the title. It will be called The Gangs of Victorian London. So it's got like a Gangs of New York kind of mystique to it. And again, it'll start off like with a scene over the harbor in London. And you're going to see like this beautiful shot of, you know, the Victorian London from above. And then we pan in on the waterway in front of London, like right under London Bridge. And there is where you see the first jet ski, like just quietly in the night, proceeding forward with an Uzi laden Victorian gentleman who has a monocle and a top hat on. And that right after that is where you cue the title card that says Victorian England 1840. This has to happen. I actually really, I know it's nerdy, but it's like, I actually really think that would be hilarious.
Suddenly John Cleese appears. And he's like, I was trying to return a fish.
So we're just doing a straight on shot of this building. I know it's very exciting. I know it's fun to see the front of a building without any characters drawn. Okay. And there we go. Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, lots going on in the chats. You guys, this Victorian thing is hip to the chats. Philip said, "Evening, Josh." Evening, Philip. If you guys are curious, check out Philip Chandler and I's conversation yesterday. It was awesome. He had like a ton of really cool questions regarding like publishing kids books, and it was a really good conversation. And Philip himself is like a very seasoned artist, like, you know, working in animation studios and stuff, and just kind of like cutting his teeth doing that, and like character work like at theme parks, and just like, you know, a working artist. So much respect to you, Philip, for coming on and asking some really awesome questions that I hope will be helpful to like other people as well, because like I'm no expert on like any of this stuff. I can only speak from like my own experience and stuff. So like you asking questions really helped me to kind of hone in on some stuff that like maybe other people don't know, that like I've learned like probably the wrong way, you know. So I appreciate it, Philip. That was fun. DD said smacking with a large trout. I think that's about right. It would have to be a fish that requires two hands. Like, it wouldn't be quite as funny if it was like a small fish. It needs to be a giant, you know. You could even have the big thug guy come in with like a swordfish, you know, toward the end. Like, that's the guy who just like takes everybody down. He's like the heavy gunner at the end.
Josh, you also have to have John Cleese suddenly show up at the end and be like holding a dead parrot.
That's true.
Just like ready to take everyone on.
So Jim did bite on the Victorian thing, but he said, let's do Victorian story, but for no reason, just incorporate the Sith. I love it. They could be the villains for no reason. The muscles upon muscles guy could make a cameo. I like that.
Actually, that's not a head. It also has a body, but you can't see the body.
Oh, okay.
Because the body's behind his face.
Cool. Okay. So there's so much great stuff going on in the chats. So yeah, we were talking about the muscles upon muscles guy yesterday, and I feel like that was a pretty good bit too. Where it's a guy who flexes, and then his muscle creates a muscle that then flexes and creates a muscle, and it becomes like the infinite muscle. I think that would be pretty good. That has to have been done though. I don't know. Jim would know. Jim, has that been done in animation where they show like a strong man who like flexes, and then like the muscle creates a muscle, which creates a muscle, which creates a muscle, just in infinitum or whatever? Because if that hasn't been, I mean, that seems like a bit that must have been done. But if it hasn't been done, we need to do that bit. Okay. So we have our entryway. That's good. I'm glad we have our entryway. I can repurpose. Yes. What's
Check
up?
out this Pokemon card they made.
Let's see them. All right. We got Baby Dumb Pig. His Pokemon card.
And we also have
Grow up, evolve this Pokemon into a dumb pig. He can eat a carrot. This Pokemon recovers 20 HP from eating the carrot.
instead of 10.
His attack is to ram into the player. This move deals 60 damage to the enemy, which is equivalent to this Pokemon's maximum HP.
That says equivalent.
Oh, equivalent.
Equivalent.
Yeah. Got it.
I call it
It was
equivalent.
Equivalent.
And then there's also this other guy.
Oh, okay. There's another Pokemon card I have to read before I can proceed forward.
Which
Okay.
is who this guy evolves into.
Okay, so there's dumb. This is the evolution stage from baby dumb pig, evolves from baby dumb pig. Eat carrot. This Pokemon recovers 10 HP from eating the carrot. Make baby. Draw the card from the deck that this Pokemon evolves from.
Which is Baby Dumpy.
Got it. And then ram into the player deals an amount of damage equivalent to this Pokemon's current HP. Another custom Pokemon card that my son made. That's amazing. Thank you, Ben.
I think you should take up all the rules on these guys.
Jim said muscle upon muscle is from Bugs Bunny when he thought that boxer when he fought that boxer or wrestler. That's it. Okay, I knew that had to be a bit. That had to be a thing. And then Jim said fought. Let's see here. Dee Dee said little game creator on your hands. Gary wanted to open a can of worms and ask, how is the baby formed? And then, oh, Jim's got a really good point. He said, Baby Dumb Pig, such a great punk band. They were from Oxnard, right? And then Dismay Comics said, I do love ram into the player. I would love to see a Pokemon hit a battler. Right? Yeah, so I think that's got to happen. Nobody can take Baby Dumb Pig. I think it's like the strongest Pokemon of all. Yeah. All right. We're going to rock this. Is there food in that, Mai? Because our dog is being crazy. Speaking of Jimmy Lujan, I got myself a... well, I was about to call him Jimmy the Loots because that's my joke. Yeah, that's my joke mobster name for Jim Lujan. Like Jimmy the Loots, you know? But anyhow, the Swizzle Stick Army mug, which I purchased from Jim Lujan's store, and you guys should all have Jim Lujan merch, is all I'm saying. Everything Baby Dumb Pig did, Idiot Child Lizard did better in 82. And then Dee Dee was saying Baby Dumb Pig equals boss. Yeah, my son is super creative. I don't know where it comes from, honestly. I have no idea. He's got like no creative people in his family at all. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, we're just working class, you know, blue collar, jet ski driving, you know, people. Okay. Wilson steps onto the front stoop. So I need Wilson here. I've got my reference for Wilson down there, but we're going to go ahead and just to make this easier to like kind of see, we're going to use that little animation trick of using like magenta to kind of draw over a scene. And then I can kind of work through it. But the nice thing is, oh, I don't know if I did actually. So the reason I was doing this separately is I'm going to have to do this exact same shot of the building down here. So why recreate the wheel when we're dealing with roughs? Like this isn't a final. This isn't a final here. No one's being tested. Okay. So there we go. Now we've got man, Baby Dumb Pig though. That's pretty classic. I'm feeling good about that. I feel like that could be the name of the mobster boss in the Victorian drama that Jim Lujan and I are going to work on with jet ski welding, Uzi holding Victorian gentlemen. All right, so we're going to do this lady. She's got her hat. Again, this is just a rough, so it does not have to be perfection here. I do think I have her pose pretty much worked out there. So here it's going to be her sort of looking down.
Oh, there's one. That's all. Silly dog.
That is a ginormous head for the character, so I will probably size her down a little bit. We're going to have her with her costume. She is reaching out a hand like this.
I'm gonna start making your bath, okay?
And we're going to do reaching out the hand like this. Where is it? Okay. Her hand is going to reach out for change. Wait, she's not reaching out for change. She's reaching out for the letter. What am I thinking here? Okay, her other arm is going to be holding the door, which I will be modifying so the door's open. That'll be helpful. Dee Dee was reminding me not to forget the sharks. Everything baby done. Okay, we already got that. Oh, Jim Luhan said a huge BDP fan. Philip also said, by the way, Josh, if you see this, I've been looking more into using Crocs and it seems to be patented, so I don't think I can use it. Oh, that's a bummer. Man, well, you got to find like maybe it's sandals. Sandals and socks still has like a double S's. Or you could do Birkenstocks and socks. But then again, I don't know if Birkenstocks are patented, but stocks and socks like rhyme. That might be an alternative. Dismay Comics said, fun fact, Baby Dumb Pig is Baby's full name in Baby Driver. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. And then Dee Dee Willingham said, looking for that monocle. Yeah, Philip was saying that's what I thought using sandals, but sandals and socks still has alliteration in it, so I think kids would still be into it. But it is kind of a bummer because I do see what you're talking about. Like there is something about Crocs and socks that does rhyme very nicely, you know. But I'm glad at least it's better that you find out now than like after the fact. If you're like searching out publishers or something and you have a book that's like called Coca-Cola and something and realize you can't use Coca-Cola, right? All right, let's see here. So she's on the stoop. On the stoop sounds like slang for on the sauce, like drinking a lot. But Wilson here is on the stoop, not as a aphorism for anything. It's just she's just standing on the stoop. That's all. Doesn't on the stoop sound like something for like you'd say about like a drug addict or something? Like they're on the stoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stoop. Like a place where they hang out where they're like looking at.
Yeah. John's on the stoop again. That could be slang in our Victorian comic world, where it could be on the stoop. Those boys are on the stoop again. Man, I've been in a goofy mood in the last few streams, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. Okay, so there's our rough going on there. This isn't going to be quite as dark. I think I'm going to make this almost like daytime. So we're not doing like the last sequence where we saw 50 Wimple. It was like raining, you know, and super dark out. Okay. Now we just have to draw our messenger boy, which I didn't even realize. Oh, let's see here. Oh my gosh, there's so much wonderful stuff going on here in the chats. Okay. Dee Dee said socks and samples. Philip said, and they're also tacky with socks. That's true. Philip said, yes, exactly. I'm so glad you mentioned that last night. That's cool. About I think that was regarding the Crocs. Dee Dee said, my daughters used to get really self-conscious with some of their friends, so Hubs decided to get them over that. Oh, Gary's got a gem of an idea. Gary, trademark that now so he can't use it. I'm just kidding. He said, what about flip-flops and socks? That's pretty good because flops and socks sounds very close. I would go with that if Gary doesn't beat you to trademarking that. Dee Dee said he went out and mowed the lawn while they had a slumber party wearing plaid shorts, knee-high socks, and wingtip shoes. Good for him. I feel like that is a very that's a boss dad move is all I'm saying. Dismay Comics said Mobster Baby Dumb Pig has been on the stoop for too long. Mobster Baby Dumb Pig's on the stoop again. Man, you guys are being too entertaining. I need to draw. But I want to read through the chats. There's too much good stuff. Philip said, that crossed my mind too. I'm going to work with some ideas and see what I can do. And then Dee Dee said they weren't embarked after that. Frank said, your name looks familiar, Dismay Comics. Okay. Oh, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. What's up?
I just made a new car.
Oh, my hands are wet, baby. Let me see. Dude.
It has a special ability. The Pokemon baby dump pig. It dump pig. Don't have any effect on this Pokemon.
Come on.
Hey, Max. I just made a new Pokemon card.
Okay, there was a suctioned together pair of glasses that will not come apart because of the water suction. So we just have to let it sit so the suction kind of depletes. Who knew? I didn't even know that could happen. All right. 50 Shades of Wimple. That's the dark fanfic version of this book after it comes out. Okay, we were going to draw. And then Dee Dee said, I drew frogs with flip-flops, called it frog flops. Turned out good. They fit well over their little toes. Nice. Okay, we're going to do this now. Okay, so I've got... I have to draw the messenger boy, which I believe I put here. Yes. There's our messenger boy. I found a great reference photo that seems like this was pretty much the uniform all messenger boys were at that time. So that's cool. That was kind of fun to find out. So we're going to make this, which is going to be... Dee Dee said, sorry, Josh, carry on. I think that was in response to me being like, man, you guys are being too entertaining. No, it's fun, man. I absolutely love having an active chat. It's amazing. So keep it up, you guys. Plus, I don't know. I will say, I really do think at some point, maybe when I'm done with this book, I want to work on a script for a humor book just because it would be so fun to workshop on a live stream like a humor script. Just because like there's a writer's room kind of vibe that I feel happens in my chats. That could be really cool. And I feel like the best, I don't know, maybe Jim will disagree because Jim's actually a funny person, whereas I just pretend to be. But it's like, I do feel like there's value in kind of just being in a goofy room for coming up with funny concepts, you know? So this kid is going to have his hand kind of out. He's ready to knock, you know? Let's see here. He's ready to knock on that door, and it just got opened. So this is a weird outfit. I should probably like loosen up a little bit because these aren't, you know, meant to be like final pages or whatever. But I am kind of enjoying. So he's going to be holding in this hand, kind of out behind him, like he's going to have a letter. I love that idea. Dee Dee said, get your chat to call out funny combos for you to draw. That's fun. That actually does sound fun. I think there's a lot of fun kind of, I think, live streaming stuff that could be done. And obviously, like right now, it's like my stream is mostly about just getting this book done. But I do kind of feel like at some point that would be really fun to do. Like some more like comedic and interactive stuff. Because I do feel like there's a part of me that like absolutely loves comedy, you know? There's like a kid in me that grew up memorizing Monty Python scripts and stuff, and I would love to like be able to indulge that a little bit for a story. That's going to be the size of the messenger boy. He's a very small. No, I'm just kidding. He's not going to be an impossibly small messenger boy. But he will be like right about there. Okay, that's going to be our messenger boy. And let's get back to our thing here. Just to give it a little more environment. And we're going to go ahead and give it just a little bit of shading. Again, it's not nighttime, so it's not going to be as dark of light as it was when it was taking place in the Slytherin lair of the Sith Lord's palace of Victorian England, you know. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty good. That'll do it. Okay, I'm feeling that. That's pretty good. I think that'll do it for this first, not the stream, don't worry. This stream shall continue. But for the first panel. I know. Very exciting times. Dee Dee said, you have fun friends too, Josh, with a good sense of humor, and that makes it fun. I have no friends, Dee Dee. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. No, I do. I have a good group of very goofy friends that make life worth living. Okay, so let's see here. We're gonna merge down. Oh no. Dee Dee was saying, ha ha ha, Josh? Like, are you okay? No, I'm good. I was joking. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna save this. Oh, okay. Dismay Comics said, write a book about a low-level mobster, and through countless accidental circumstances, he becomes a kingpin. Call it something like Baby Dumb Pig, the true story of the world's clumsiest gangster. I love it, but it'll have to take place in Victorian times with Victorian jet ski driving mobsters or vigilante heroes.
Or he has a cousin who still thinks it's 1800s and he's totally nuts, but he can't help himself.
All right. So we're going to save this. I'm going to move the thumbnail. I like that idea too, that Mai kind of posited that it could be like a friend of the gangster who's just obsessed with Victorian England. Okay. Here we go. And we have hit the hour mark, so I'm going to go ahead and play a trailer for my graphic novel, Jacob's Apartment, which is coming out June 7th, and then I'm going to get right back to it, and we're going to finish the roughs for this page at minimum. So bear with me. Okay, so here we go. Let's get that trailer rocking right about now. Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can we be these things we've seen and walk around breathing I don't know the part to play in this heart of mine. There's dissonant things, they split at the seams. All right, you guys, we're back. We're keeping the caffeine flowing, and we're working on roughs.
As long as you just sit it on the toilet.
Oh, Dee Dee said Mai is on a computer behind Josh designing a new BDP children's book. That's a good point, actually. A big dumb pig. What do you think for a children's book? It could be all about CK, our pug. We have a dog that's very overweight and food obsessed, and I would call him a bit of a big dumb pig. See, this guy. Look at that. That's a pretty big dumb pig right there. Yeah. Anyhow, all right. So he is really cute, though. We love him. He's a senior at this point. Okay, so we're gonna do. So for panel 2, that's gonna be this section of the script, which is gonna say, she puts her finger to her lips in a shushing motion and holds out her hand. So that is luckily a fairly easy thing to mime. So we're going to have that going here. I want that to be. Here go the dogs again. You guys, these weekend casts are chaos, but they're not as chaotic as if I tried to stream. If I tried to to stream, this should be more like, if I tried to stream tomorrow when there's a power outage, that would be some chaos, you guys. You would see nothing, basically, because I have no power tomorrow. Exciting times. So I still love this idea of the jet ski intro, right? It's the overhead shot of London. You have the beautiful Victorian England city skyline reflecting off the water. It's an overhead shot of London Bridge. Her eyes should be looking down, not up. Okay. And then it zooms in. It says Victorian England, right? 1840 or whatever. It zooms in under London Bridge to reveal the jet ski riding gentlemen in top hats and monocles with Uzis. And then one of them is wearing a pair of sunglasses. This is like, maybe they're wearing aviators or something. I just realized I was having her like blow a gun rather than because I was talking about this jet ski thing. So then like it zooms in on the reflection in the aviators, right? And the reflection shows Big Dumb Pig, maybe. And he's on a yacht. With a swordfish. Okay. We've got our intro, guys. I think we need to have a meeting with some movie executives. You need to set this up. And to set up this amazing alternate universe. Okay. I did actually like the position of her hand here where her arm is out, so I'm going to do that. I think that actually makes a little more sense. So her arm's going to be a little bit more out. They have really puffy sleeves on these things. And then she has kind of a cool... This took me a while to kind of figure out, actually, in drawing, like the way that works. And this is going to be her hand held out. I almost drew her with 6 fingers, making her the 6-fingered man, the villain in in The Princess Bride. Here's a question for artists out there. Have you guys ever gotten really far into an illustration? I say this having no experience in this whatsoever, having never made this mistake before, and found that you drew the thumb on the wrong side of the hand? Like, because I've never done that, ever. Yeah. I'm kidding. Of course I've done that. Anyhow, I was curious. Have you guys ever had those moments where you're like, oh man, thumbs are not on the other side of the hand there? I've definitely had those moments multiple times. Okay, so here's her saying shh. Here's the boy. I think she's going to need to be a little smaller in frame. Like I wanted her to be pretty large. Oh, and I drew this on the thumbnail layer. I should do this as that. Anyhow, I'm going to be checking the chats in about 2 seconds. So I want to know your guys' experiences. Have you had that? I mean, not that any of us ever would make that mistake because we're all such professionals, you know, in this field who we do not make mistakes like drawing thumbs on the wrong side. On the wrong side of the wrong hand. but I'm just kind of curious if you guys have had that moment, because I will say not only have I had that moment, I've had that moment like 5 minutes before something was due, when I was about to hit send to a client, and then been like, oh no, what did I do? Okay, his hat's going to be tilted on the other side. Okay, good choice, pass Josh. Oh, okay, and then the strap kind of goes under the, wait, the strap goes here. This is a Victorian haircut, so it's probably like really high up. They shaved, they had like a very high neckline on their stuff because they were obsessed with these like high collars. I don't know if that had something to do with like the, it'll be interesting to see why that is, that like fashion wise they did all those high collars. I wonder if that had something to do with like maybe they didn't take good care of, like, I don't know, maybe I mean a lot of like fashions actually had to do with how well people were able to take care of their hygiene. So maybe it was like a sweat catcher or something, I don't know. I mean, that's gross, but it's fully possible is all I'm saying. My senile pug is just blindly barking at nothing. He's convinced. He's convinced there's something out there. All right. Okay, I'm going to check the chats in about a few seconds when I finish this this doorway illustration here. Why was I having the door is facing the other direction, so that wouldn't be there. But yeah, anyhow, so needless to say, I always cross-check my hands now when I draw them, because you never know, man. You absolutely never know when you might draw someone with the wrong hands. That could be a character too in the Victorian story there, where you could have like one of the characters has their thumb on the wrong side of their hand. His name could be Thumbness. Okay. Like Tumness in C.S. Lewis's thing, but Thumbness. And he's an especially like violent mobster, because he's mad that the artist drew him with thumbs on the wrong side of his. I think we're building a universe here, guys. Okay. Panel 2, roughed. Now I'm going to check out to see if there was anything there going on. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, Gary said, I have a question. Do the top hats have chin straps? They should. I think that would be amazing. I love it. Dee Dee was saying Frank designed goggles, steampunk. Dismay Comics, in regard to my accidental finger guns, was saying she just shot the kid with finger guns, hence the gun blow. She's exactly in the first panel. She's like, and then she's like, Gary said we need a fan art contest. Draw a scene from Not Death But Love, poorly remembered and historically inaccurate. 100%. Philip said we don't need to talk about those kinds of mistakes. LOL, regarding the thumb on the wrong hand thing. Did he say something about sharks or something? I think I heard that. Adds sharks. Dee Dee laughing a bunch. Dismay Comics said, I would never do such a thing with my stick figure drawings because they don't have fingers. I love it. Philip said, actually, I did that when doing a live caricature at the park, and it was straight ink to paper with people watching. Oh, no. That's one of those moments where you're like, they just, they have a very thick pinky. I mean, it's just an exaggerated pinky. That's all I was drawing there.
That's all thumbs are.
Dee Dee asks the question that is begged from that, Philip, which is, did anyone notice? Dismay Comics was saying BDP, baby death pug. That could be our grandpa pug. Okay, Philip Chandler said, I think I quickly tried to change it. It made it a bit messy, but people didn't seem to care. Gary said, I can't say I ever swapped a thumb, but I have accidentally drawn the buttons on the wrong side of a shirt. It's different for men's and women's clothes. Yeah, and I always forget the side, even though like I spent like a good year or two at an office, like wearing, like suits and ties and stuff. And like, so I should know in theory, but I always forget till I put on a shirt, which side. For all I know, I might own all women's dress shirts. My wife just was like, you do. She's bought a lot of my dress shirts, so she could be pulling a fast one on me to this day. Who knows? She'll be like, this flannel looks really nice. You should wear it. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And meanwhile, when I go out in public, people are like, okay. Anyhow, Gary was saying, okay. And then Dee Dee said, just made it an Easter egg in your make it an Easter egg in your comics. Hidden thumbs and extra fingers. Well, I mean, that's the nice thing about these streams is when you guys see the final comic, when everyone else is drawn into like this mysterious BBC panorama kind of intro, you guys are going to be thinking of guys in jet skis with monocles shooting Uzis. It's going to be amazing. And if this thing actually like gets bigger, like people will just be like, you guys, I don't know, man, that's a very serious story. I can't believe you're like, no. It literally, like the artist behind it was doing these crazy things. All right, so let's see. This is going to be a hand. Okay, I need to reread what I'm doing here. The boy places a letter on her palm. So, chapow. It's going to be her palm out. So she's going to be palm out. And then we want to have it actually look like her. So we want to have that sort of frilly lace thingamabop that she's got going. And then we're going to have the letter which is going to be here. These are roughs, guys. It's my excuse anytime I have like really sloppy drawing. Is, hey, keep in mind these are roughs. And this is going to be the boy's hand, placing the letter there. And he's going to have sort of that type of thing going. And I think it should have a different angle to it because I think I want to juxtapose those two angles. Juxtaposition. That was a song by Baby Death Pig. Or Big Dumb Pig, BDP. I have Baby Death Pug now stuck in my head. That would be a great children's book, don't you think? Baby Death Pig.
Like the little daughter of death. With her sickle.
I like it. He's like Death's guinea pig. Like Death literally has a pet guinea pig named Baby Death Pig. And she made him a little sickle too. We're an idea factory, you guys. If you watch this stream, you're gonna hear all these beautiful gems. You're gonna like have $1 million ideas. You're gonna sell them, make them into movies. People are gonna be like, "Where did you get these ideas?" You're gonna be like, "I have no idea. I just have the best imagination." Little did you know they happened on this live stream. This live stream is what makes television series happen, you guys. Okay, let's see here. Remember those extra thumbs Josh drew, says Didi? And then Dismay Comics said, buys book and reads, the hell? Where's the extra thumbs? I love it. And then Didi said, we know how well your drawings end up, so no worries. Okay. So we've got now our second part, our second rough. I'm just going to say our second about 50 more times. This is going to be the kid. And he's going to be getting a coin, which I looked up. You guys. Did my due diligence. I looked up what that shilling would look like at that time. That's what that shilling would look like. Could I deliver a letter for a shilling there? Please, ma'am, I delivered a letter. Could you give me a shilling then? That's how everyone talks, actually. That's not even the boy. That's actually how Elizabeth talks. Please, sir, could you give me a wee shilling there? Ma'am, I delivered a letter to you. Could I have a wee shilling for me tiny fingers so I can go back to the factory?
Just ignore my extra thumb.
Please, miss. I need a shilling for me labour, please.
For my thumb removal surgery.
Are you guys liking? I don't know if you can hear Maya's impressions too, but right now we're just doing wild impressions of delivery boys at this time. And I feel like I want to see a Jim Lujan cartoon that's like a delivery boy in the Victorian England who's just like, hello there, I delivered a letter. Could you please give me a shilling in my hand? Yeah, it's my name's Tiny Tim, and I need some coal for the winter so my fingers don't freeze off. Please give me a shilling then. Yeah, I froze off my second thumb. It's
It was on the wrong side of my hand. It was on the wrong side of my hand.
but that was okay. It was the artist drew the thumb on the wrong side of the hand, and it just fell off in the winter. My hand used to look like this, you know. Before I had that shilling, I used to have an extra digit on my hand. Okay. Gary said, I'm concerned if you keep going with that accent, your wife might leave you. What you don't understand, Gary, is off mic, my wife was just riffing with me on it. She actually did the riff with the extra thumb, which I think is just you can see why we're together. We're both idiotic. Baby Death Pig opens the gate to hell and stares back at the victim and says, I'm about to fry your bacon. Oh my gosh, Dismay Comics, I love it. Oh, Philip Chandler did It's a Jolly Holiday with Mary. That is from what I've heard from friends of mine from England, I have heard that the chimney sweep is just the most accurate accent. I have heard, like, I really considered that too when I was deciding to do this historical fiction book. Was just, I really want this book to be as historically accurate as Mary Poppins chimney sweep Cockney accent. I think if I could get that level of accuracy, I would just die happy. So there we go. We've got our shilling deposited. Thank you, ma'am, for the shilling there. Thank you for me shillings. You know what the name of the bellhop's gonna be? Or the delivery boy? It's gonna be Shillingsworth. I'm here all night, you guys. I'm here all night. This is free comedy. Well, not free, actually. This is comedy paid for at this point by Dee Dee. For your bemusement. It's a few shillings worth of comedy there for your amusement of Mr. Shillingsworth. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm being so goofy. I don't know what's come over me the last few days, you guys. Okay. Now, what would be in the background here, right? If we're looking, so I think we'd actually see, we'd probably see like a little bit of the stoop, maybe. Yep. Probably a little bit of the stoop. And to be honest, like anybody watching this stream is like probably thinking like a little bit of the stoop. I've been hearing a lot of the stoop. If you mean stupid, that's what I mean. All right, so here we go. We've got our things going here. Where's the dancing penguins, Josh? It's got to be historically accurate. I love it. That's true. That's true.
Mom, I just found a new car that's just absolutely ridiculous.
So you guys, we're almost done with the rough here.
No, but
Thanks to the shilling that was deposited on the stoop there, we're almost done. I hope this is horrible. I'm gonna do like the rest of the stream in that accent now. Okay, so Gary was saying, hold on a second. Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff. Gary was saying another level of accuracy might be Keanu Reeves in Dracula. That's true. I've heard Keanu Reeves' English accent in Dracula was.
I love this. He is so great as Jonathan Harker.
I actually think that Keanu Reeves really benefited Much Ado About Nothing. I feel like I really bought him doing Shakespeare when he was saying, "I hate him as I hate hell." Like it really felt very authentically Shakespearean. Let's see here. Dismay Comics said, "I've fallen on hard times and I can't get off the stoop." That was supposed to be said in a different accent. I think that's the hello sir. I've fallen on hard times. I can't get off the stoop. Could you introduce me to Baby Pig, Big Baby Pig? Let's see here. We've got Dee Dee saying, "Who is the letter from? Local? If local with a delivery boy, would there be a stamp on it?" Dee Dee, you are awesome, and that is a good point. Why would they put a stamp with a delivery boy? Good point. Dee Dee, you just saved me a ton of work. I appreciate that. All right. So yeah, I feel like Keanu Reeves though that's the level of accuracy I want in this historical fiction. Is Keanu Reeves' English accent?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be kind of windy again, so
Okay, so if we can do this with the border, we are so close to done with this thumbnail, and I'm pretty darned excited about it. All right,
that's nice. It's freezing.
let's get that going. My borders. Okay.
I have to go up with the color.
Okay, so where's my thumbnail? Where's my thumbnail at there? Okay, there we go. We've got our thumbnail. Now this is going to be the boy. I need to see that messenger boy again. And that's a perfect angle to see him at because I actually need to sketch him. So we're going to move the thumbnail over because I want him to be kind of down the street. But I kind of like the gesture of that I sketched there. So he's going to be kind of running. And at this point, it's going to be his face. And we're going to have him running. So same costume, just we're having him run. Actually, this arm, I liked my gesture before. So this arm actually isn't going to be running. This arm is going to be kind of held forward. I love it. Dee Dee said, "Starting an English accent school fund for Josh. He he he." Thank you for the shillings there, Dee Dee. I very much appreciate it. That'll keep me me extra thumbs from freezing off in the winter. Appreciate it, Dee Dee. Thank you. Okay, so we got our running messenger boy. And he is going to be having his shoes kind of kicking out there. Other shoe back. Because we want some gesture and movement when we sketch out a running person. And then I don't want him to be a giant. Did you guys ever watch Gem and the Holograms back in the day? The animation. I might have been unfortunate to see it, like because I had sisters, so they used to watch Gem and the Holograms. And I remember there were villains in it called the Misfits, but they weren't the Misfits, like the band the Misfits. They weren't like, I believe in Halloween. They weren't those misfits. They were anyhow, so whenever I think of the word giant, because I'm so programmed by 1980s cartoons from my youth, I think of a Misfits song that was not the Misfits, like the, credible punk band, the Misfits, but the Misfits from that Gem and the Holograms animation. And it was a song about being a giant and being young and defiant. Again, I know. It's valuable information there. Hi, Paul. Paul Pate is joining us. Paul has caught up. I don't know. Can anyone catch Paul up on the lore that we have on Extra Fingers, the Wrong Hands on the Wrong Arms, Victorian Sharks? Let's see. What else? What am I missing here? There's been so many memes. It's hard to keep track. Baby Dumb Pig. There's just been so much that's happened, Paul. But anyhow, Paul Pate, brilliant illustrator, which I'm actually going to shout him out real quick before I continue. You guys should pick up this book. Buy this book. It's good. Detective Perez. It's Paul Pate's graphic novel that is like a fun detective adventure with vampires. Okay, so I'm going to have the maid now again. And in this case, I actually might have... My goodness, am I going to be able to cheat and use the same maid? I think I might. For this rough, we shall see. Should I dare? Dare I shall. Suddenly my okay. Okay. Here we go. We're going to use the maid. So I want to know, just as a round of like who all's working on stuff creative, because we have a really creative audience in our chats right now. What are you guys all working on, and where are you at on your projects? And this is a callback to Frank and I's stream yesterday. Where are your 1,000 pages? Frank and I were joking yesterday that we're going to be like the ultra over cocky cartoon advice guys from now on, where, people who give art advice are always like trying to give reasonable advice. And I feel like we should give advice like where somebody would be like, hey, how do I get good at cartooning? And you're like, look, all you have to do is like by tomorrow, turn in 1,000 pages. That's it. That's all we ask, is just that you do 1,000 pages by tomorrow. Do your 1,000 pages, get them to me, stat, and then you can be a cartoonist. But if not, sorry, you're just probably not going to make it, kid. That kind of thing. So that's going to be an ongoing bit, and I'll see if it has any legs. But that I thought that was pretty funny. Where it'll be like, "Where's your 1,000 pages, kid?" And then, of course, naturally, somebody will be like, "Well, where are your 1,000 pages?" And you're like, "Look, you asked me for advice. I'm not. I don't need to give the 1,000. But you're the one asking for advice here. I'm not. What am I, a magician?" So that was one of the bits from last night's stream. I also liked, I don't know, man, there's so many goofy bits that have come out of this stream. I loved the one that Jim and I had about like the disheartening guy too, who was just like, like overly cocky or something, and they're just like, I just give up, kid, that kind of thing. I don't know. I'm gonna come up with stuff, but But yeah, anyhow, that was funniness coming out of the stream yesterday. I feel like I really want to make, out of all the bits that we've done, though, I think the one that has the biggest sticking point to me is the Victorian action comic that's like Miami Vice, but like Victorian era. I just think the premise of that is very funny. And I think, to me, like if something's a pretty decent bit to kind of keep going, it's partially like, does it have like staying power? Like, is it still funny in the morning? And that's something that, like, either I have no sense of humor, which is highly possible, but it's like, it just has so much staying power for me. It's funny. All right, what is everybody working on? We got Paul saying, Dee Dee, my daughter had her first. Oh, I don't know if I should share that. Paul was saying my daughter had the first getting back from the store buying lady products for his daughter. So he said, Josh doesn't scare me. And Paul did say he's drawn hands the wrong way on accident. So have I. Like, we were having a long conversation about that. Not that I've ever done it like maybe a minute before a client saw the artwork, but I've definitely. So I have done that, and it was like a minute before the client saw the artwork. Dee Dee said her name is Wilson. Can we sneak in a volleyball? Nice. Gary said, I'm drawing page 13 of Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots, number 3. All right. I'm roughing out page 16, but I'm gonna lap you eventually. My goal here is, at some point, I want to surpass Gary's page number, which, by the way, shouldn't be like bragging rights or anything. It's just like, if I don't do that, I'm in big trouble, because I have to get a ton of pages done. But still, just for fun. Let's see. Dee Dee said, Gary, do you ever take a break seriously? I don't think Gary does. I'll let Gary answer that, but I think that when Gary's in work mode, he's like legit in work mode. And actually, Gary has like a crazy output. Like, he'll put out books pretty quick. Paul as well, actually. It's kind of crazy. These guys are like output machines. You guys are like machines, you know? All right, so let's see here. Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to say I need to have a thumbnail here. And look at that. I do. Needed to see what 50 Wimple actually looks like in order to get this thumbnail done. And look at that. I already did the research to see what it looks like. So I'm going to merge this down. And then we're going to have kind of a moment here where I'm going to be sort of creating this building. And we're sort of going to be creating like a rough of this building, because this is going to be the whole building front is on this sequence, right? The building used to have a different arched doorway, by the way. That's why it like has that rounded doorway. We found that out whilst doing research and stuff like that. I like Gary's answer. He's like, brake? Like, what's that? Like in a car? He's like, I don't even know the meaning of brake. What is brake? But I have seen Gary, like, when he gets into work mode, man, he's just like, he's got a pretty consistent schedule, and he'll put out like, books pretty consistently. All right, so we're kind of pulling from what I can see, you know? And again, this is just a rough, but it's like, it's good to kind of have a rough idea of where that's going to go. It's going to be a daytime sequence, so we're not going to like mask everything like on the previous pages where, you know, the whole thing was going to be pretty dark and moody. But these are going to be like awnings, so it's not bad to have like a little bit of shadow to kind of reflect that. I'm guessing this is like a window. But it was pretty cool to come across. It was surprising how much of like Wimple was accessible and stuff. So I feel pretty good about that. I think that was a doorway, so that should actually be more like high up. And then I think this would actually be a little bit higher up. All this for like a simple sequence, but I think it's going to make for a really cool page that kind of highlights how cool 50 Wimple is. And here's the cool part. I'm going to have it actually go all the way as if it's overlaid over the building. So that'll make sense in a second. We're going to have this kind of come over here. Dismay Comics. Oh my goodness, there's so many things. Okay, we got more saying on what all is being done. Paul said, I took a long nap today, so I'm up right now drawing some spaceship sketches. Awesome. Dismay Comics said, my Kickstarter for the Gallows Men is fully funded and going towards stretch goals. That's rad. We had a really awesome conversation about the Gallows Men actually on our on Artcasters, and that was like pretty amazing. So that's cool that you got fully funded, man. I'm glad, and I'm glad there's some fun dark humor out there in the world. In the world. It's good stuff. Gallows Man actually is really inspiring. Gary said break. Oh wait, that's the break in a car. I already mentioned that. Dee Dee said, don't forget the glow coming from the window. That's true. Thank you. That's actually a good point. I probably want to finish that up so we don't have that stand out. I like that. Okay. So then we're going to have, and I do think like when I color it, I should definitely get that, like some of that like kind of orangey light going. Will the maid blast him in the back with finger guns? That she's already done it with lasers from her eyes.
Community when they're all trying to kill each other.
Oh yeah.
It was paintball.
Okay, so we're getting our window here. And again, this is a rough, but I'm just trying to kind of set up this and establish this section here, because I want it to actually overlay. I just think it's a lot of fun when you can have occasionally, like, you don't want to overdo this power, superpower of comics. Again, like if every page doesn't have borders, then like there's really no point in like kind of utilizing something like this. But when you're using like a standard grid, you know, like a 9-panel or 6-panel grid, it's fun to like kind of break it up and show the power of breaking the grid every once in a while. But breaking the grid to me only has significance if you have the grid there, right? But I'm a very like pro grid creator. I know there's people who like always want to move beyond the grid. Ben, can you turn the volume just a little bit down if you're gonna? Thank you. So Ben is listening to tutorials on I think they're Minecraft tutorials. So we're almost done, you guys, if you bear with us. My dog has lost his mind. He's barking. This is one of those crazy streams, you guys. A crazy stream with a lot of noises. So we've got this going. Because how cool will this be as this actually goes all the way up? Ben, can you turn that a little bit more down, dude? Can you turn that just a little bit lower? Thank you. By the way, everybody liked your card a lot. They liked your Pokemon cards that you showed at the beginning. Yeah. Ben gave a thumbs up with that. Oh, that's a good point. Dee Dee said, don't forget that Josh now has super thanks on all his videos. And this one too, after done. Yeah, so if you guys appreciate my videos and what I'm doing, a super thanks would be awesome. It's a fun way to kind of support these crazy streams that I do, as well as these crazy comics that I make. All right, so we're going to have... probably have this section here is going to be mostly brick. And I think we're going to be close to done with this rough, which is pretty exciting. I just realized too, this is going to be having like the circle that says 50 up here. We're going to have our window here. And then we're going to have our triangular part here. And what's cool is like when I do the final of this is going to have just like a real impactful kind of look to it. Although I just realized I'm drawing on the same layer as that. Okay. So that's okay. So let's get back to this. I'm going to move this down. I have no idea what has happened to my dog's brain. I don't know if you guys are hearing the madness that's ensuing. He's kind of like, he's an older dog. And so he has like these moments of like senility where he's just kind of blindly barking. Anyhow, fun times, you guys. But I love that pug. He's a goofball. All right, so this is going to be just brick. I mean, nothing huge to it. But I think this will be a really cool effect, you know, like to have these. And then here will be the roof with like one of the little columns. And again, like maybe some sky behind it. And here will be kind of thing here. Now, in reality, when I work on like the final of this, I'll probably draw a lot of the building through, because if you're trying for an effect like this, the most effective way to do it would be to draw through and have that kind of going. All right, guys. So let me show you guys what it looks like. I'm actually pretty happy with that page. What do you guys think? I feel like that's a pretty effective page. Still has those vibes. I think it works well. I don't know. I think that's gonna wrap it for this stream. So I want to do another live stream. I'll probably do it in about an hour. I'd like to go read some kids' books to my son. And then probably like by around like 8:30 or so, I'll be back on. So if you guys are here on 8:30 Pacific, I'll see you then. I very much appreciate, I have to talk over the barking pug, but I very much appreciate you guys showing up, hanging out. All the goofy stuff that happened on the stream was pretty incredible. Yeah, Dee Dee was saying the colors add so much atmosphere. Yeah, I can't wait to kind of get into to bringing this to like the final level. It's going to be a lot of fun. What is this? Okay, there's a few other things. Oh, Paul said, I'll have to go back to 2 Stories and look, but I'm surprised you're a grid guy. 2 Stories is so creative in terms of frames. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I think you should break the grid a lot, but it's like, I think that like you'll see in 2 Stories, it's like there's a basic structure. I think in that, I mostly kind of use like a default structure of like a 9-panel grid. And then of course it breaks all the time. But it's like, I have that repeated structure throughout. So a lot of it is very gridded so that when it breaks outside of the grid, it has more impact. I tend to think like that. I don't know. I mean, again, I'll play with it and kind of break out of it, but I do really like the grid. And then Paul, Dee Dee was saying, I like it. And then Philip was saying, I'll try to be here. I should be. So cool. I'll see you guys in about an hour. When I'm back on and streaming. But thanks for hanging out with me. And we have finished the roughs for page 16. So I'm feeling pretty good. That gives me 6 roughs so far that I can send to my publisher. And I hope to get like maybe at least 2 more done. That would be nice. So we'll see how far we can get. The neat thing is, and the crazy thing is, the further this goes, like the more research I'm going to have to do on stream and stuff too. But also Dismay Comics, congrats on fulfilling your Kickstarter, man. That's huge. And yeah, thanks for just being a fun group to hang out with, and I'll see you guys on the next stream. Oh, make sure you've hit subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when I'm about to go live again. And just appreciate you guys and hope you have a creative night. See you in about an hour.